Welcome to Know Your Money, where we will explore our relationship with money and how the psychology of it impacts our financial decisions, as everyone thinks about money differently. In our podcast, we'll be presenting a variety of financial topics in an easy-to-understand way, which we hope will assist you with managing your money. So this episode is about understanding the seasons and preparing for them like nature does. So basically what we're trying to do here is explain to you what the markets are like and what you should be doing when they're around.
Is this a bit like winter, summer, autumn, spring?
Exactly.
So you wish it's summer all year round, but you appreciate the summer after there's been a harsh winter even more.
Exactly that, and that every single thing in life has its seasons. Your relationships, your nature, the way things grow, there has to be seasons for something to happen. So investing is exactly the same thing. It's not always going to be up. There's going to be up and down, and you just have to ride the wave and prepare for the down as much as possible. Like, I know my husband always says in our relationships, like, you're not always happy. So some days you're going to have bad days, and you've just got to kind of ride the wave. And what I've said to him is, I don't believe that you should just ride the wave. I think you need to paddle, like you need to get out of it, and that's how the investing thing is. And there was a story that I read to my son. It's about the ant and the grasshopper. And basically the ant is collecting his food, and the grasshopper's there chilling and dancing and having fun. And he says to the ant, come, have fun, the sun's out. And the ant says, no, I have to prepare for winter. And the grasshopper carries on, and he just keeps having fun, and the ant keeps saving. Winter comes along, and he has no shelter, he has no food, and the ant is in there comfortable with his food. He knocks on his door and he gives him a little bit. And the next season, the grasshopper realizes, okay, I can't just lie in the sun and have fun. I must save. And then they do it together, and they can both relax a little bit in the summer, but then they have prepared for the winter. And investing is like that, like what we've been saying with all our buckets and putting things in certain areas. Like, you've got to save for each season so that you don't feel bad. Or when COVID happened, how many people suffered because they had no emergency fund, they had no preparation for the bad times, because they will always come. It just is how it is.
And let's hope that COVID taught us all a lesson about having an emergency fund, something you can fall back on in really bad times. Because as we saw, most people didn't have that luxury of that kind of fund.
Yeah.
Also, I think back to years and years ago in 1998, the markets crashed dramatically. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media and immediate information. We waited for the American markets to open. The newspapers printed panic. Our markets opened. Everybody panicked, and the market dropped 40%.
Sure.
Some clients who were near retirement, they had to look at taking the money that they had and building in a retirement fund, but with 40% down. Now, if you had another basket of money, that emergency, what if the markets did so badly, and you could live on that for, it was only less than 2 years. I think in 17 months, the markets had recovered, and they made a fortune going forward. If you could live through those 17 months, and then the markets recovered, it was another wonderful, about 7 years of growth again. And then there's been drops, as we've seen. This year has been a very bad year for the markets, with inflation in Europe going higher than we've seen it in most people's lifetime. But just weather the storm, go through the storm, it'll all come right. There is a sunny day at the end of the time. I think when this happens, you panic and you think there's never going to be a sunny day.
Yeah.
When you're in winter and you're cold, you think there's never going to be a nice rainy, sunny day where I can go down to the beach and enjoy the sun. And I think that's very important, that you can go through these periods of up and down, and the emotions that go with it.
Yeah.
And often it's better to do nothing. And people want to panic. You must move my investment. It's dropped. Doesn't matter. It's dropped. It's dropped, and we're buying more units for it. While
so
it's
that's
dropping,
the thing. Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think it's do nothing.
No.
I think it's keep contributing to it.
Completely.
Do nothing with what is saved, but don't stop those contributions.
No.
Keep preparing for it. Even if where you're putting it, it seems dire and it's down, still keep putting it in there, because it will go up.
It's for someone like me, it's kind of counterintuitive. Well, the markets are dropping. Why am I still putting money in there? But then, as you've explained, the whole point is over time, it will always go up.
And you buy quality shares.
Exactly. A big thing that you must explain, I think, as well to people is that when the markets are down is the best time to buy because you're buying more units. Maybe you can explain how that works.
So your 200 Rand, you might be buying 1 unit of the shares that you're in. And then suddenly the markets drop and they drop by 50%. So your 200 Rand is now buying you 2 units. So suddenly you've got 3 units, and when the market recovers back to 300-400 Rand, you've got more units than you had before.
Yeah.
So actually what you really want to happen is a prolonged period of the markets dropping and you're buying quality units, unit trusts, investments. And when those investments recover, you've got more units to make you more money. And that helps the compounding.
I mean, surely that's what a smart investor would do, is they would look for undervalued stocks or something like that.
So you see, but that's also the thing, is that is not your role. That's not it's not even our role as financial planners.
Yeah.
Those are the fund managers. It's their decisions. They do those kind of things.
And they must be very good at this.
Exactly. But what you as an investor, you as an individual need to do is just keep saving. Don't move your things if you are with a trusted financial advisor. And that's also a big thing that I found, is that you have to be with someone that aligns with your values. That's the most important thing. If I go and ask Craig for advice, you are going to tell me to do this. If we go and ask the next advisor, they're going to tell you to do that. Every single person has an opinion of how to do something, and it will always be different.
Okay.
The thing is, you've just got to find someone that aligns with your values and you believe their advice.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same sort of with doctors. Okay, that is a bit of a different kind of thing. Like, if you go and someone told you that you have cancer and you feel completely fine, would you believe that person, or would you try go get a second opinion?
No, you'd get a second opinion for sure.
Exactly. And sometimes they also even get it wrong because it's what they've learned or what they remember. And it's the same with financial planning. Like, you've got to stick with someone that gets you, I think.
And the fund managers spend lots of time on analytics. They look at the markets, they look at the shares, the quality of the shares, and they make calls, and we trust those calls they make. As long as you're with a good company,
reputable,
completely reputable, and they've done their analytics properly and they've done the research properly, you just stick with them because you know that that's going to come right. That winter's going to turn into summer, and it's going to be a glorious summer, even though it's been a harsh winter.
So really, trust is a big part of it as well. You need to trust your fund manager.
Completely. Trust in this industry is the most important thing.
Because if you don't trust them and you panic and you allow your emotions to get the best of you during a downturn and you start taking the money out and not putting money in, well, it's your own fault that you haven't looked at the long term and you haven't trusted the people you were trusting.
Yeah.
And if you miss the best 30 days of the market, when we say the market's a stock market where people buy shares and sell shares, and that's where the real money is made. You do have money in money market instruments like the banks, but with a stock market where people buy and sell shares, if you miss the best 30 days of over a 10-year period, so you panic, go, wait, hold on, it's gone down, let me get my money out, I'll go back in when it's better. If you miss those best 30 days, you'll have no return over 10 years. If you stay invested, you're going to make around 15%. You'll double your money over 10 years.
Yeah. And again,
it's more than that, though. Sorry.
Well,
check that out.
That's fine. That's fine. But so for someone like me, you know, I like to save, but I, again, probably like most people who don't understand long-term saving or haven't really done it, we don't have this concept or this ability to reason with ourselves and go, it's long term. You need to be in it for the long run. And so you see this guy who made this amount of money selling his own stocks or whatever he was doing and effectively gambling. And so we would see a downturn in the market and go, oh shit, we've got to get our money out. Rather than going, there's been a downturn in the market, but technically I'm still up. And it will go back up.
But also that, I don't think you're always going to have that mindset. You've got to just trust the person that is making those decisions for you. And like a big point that we've also saying here is be aware of what you're taking in. the news is going to say certain things that, are going to make you panic and make you stress. And I don't know what you think on that.
They enjoy the panic. The markets go down in a day. They love to say how bad it is.
Yeah.
They don't tell you when the markets go really. We had a bumper down the markets. That are very seldom do they tell you this. But we heard an analogy the other day. It's as though you're in a lift going up to the 30th floor, and you are, as an investor, you're the yo-yo in the lift. So the yo-yo is going up and down, but the lift's still going up.
Yeah.
So, and that's what
that's a great analogy.
Yeah, you must try and think about that and think about the long term. Is it's going to go up? It's and for prolonged periods. Even the Great Depression in 1927, and we've seen many crashes in the last few decades. The housing market crashed in 2008, yes, but it recovered dramatically. The pandemic dropped and it recovered quite quickly, and we're going to have those, as Bronwyn says, the winter and summer. You're going to have the summers and the winters, and you must go with that.
And what would you say then, if I was to say to you, well, everyone's saying we're going into a global recession now, and if that is the case, is it still a great idea to keep putting money into an investment?
Yes. Once again, what's your time horizon? Which goal are you looking at?
Yeah.
Is it a short-term goal for the holiday?
Let's call this starting of a retirement fund.
And you 30 years old.
20 years left, yeah.
And you've got a great time to invest. And you're going to have a stormy period now. We don't know when. Nobody can analyze when the great crash is going to come. It could be any number of factors. The one thing that happened, a natural disaster that caused the markets to react quite dramatically, was one of the volcanoes spewed up stuff somewhere in Iceland, and that caused flights not to happen. That huge ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal affected trade around the world. The markets got reactive. You don't know when something's going to happen. We didn't know COVID would happen. But we did know that humans will get out of it, and the markets will continue, the markets will rise, companies will make profits, people will buy more items, and we will get out of it. And when we get out of it, it's going to be huge profits at the end of the day. If you're looking at a saving for the end of the year holiday, then no, you won't go into the market. If you look at it for a 20-year saving, a fantastic time to go in, especially with a debit order.
And exactly, just to end off that seasons kind of thing, is you've got to prepare for those seasons, and that's why it's so important to have a financial planner, because if right now you are going into retirement and the markets are low, like you referred to earlier, where you're 40% down, if you had a good financial planner all these years, you would have had your emergency fund, you would have had all these different buckets, and you wouldn't need to be taking from the bucket that is the most volatile at the moment. So having all of these different areas is so important, and being prepared for each season, I think.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, would like to subscribe, please visit our website www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.